Hey, Charlotte. Voting isn't just going to the polls on Election Day anymore. Options like early voting, mail-in voting, and ballot drop boxes are available to more voters and are growing in popularity.
They sure are. How to Vote? It's a tool created by Democracy Works. It breaks down the options your state offers for casting a ballot, empowering you to decide when and where to vote.
Democracy works best when we all vote, but misinformation and confusion about election procedures have resulted in low voter turnout. How to Vote, a tool created by Democracy Works, takes the guesswork out of the voting process.
Don't let those assholes confuse you.
You decide when and where you're going to vote this year at howto.vote.
Hello and welcome to Family Home Evening with Bad Mormons, brothers and sisters.
Hi, Sister Anderson.
Hi, Elder Anderson. You're a boy now.
Okay, that was a surprise turn of events. Do you think it's weird that only boys get to have different names in the Mormon church? Like you can be an elder or a brother or a bishop.
Or a prophet.
Yeah, or
the one mighty and strong. Yeah, and I think it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, girls only get to be sister.
Sister fill in the blank.
Sister wife.
Yeah, that's some bullshit right there.
I've been having so much fun digging into some of the ex-Mormon groups and just realizing, like, I haven't dwelled on being a part of the church a lot in my life because the majority of my life I haven't been in the church. But for that small percentage of time that I was in the church, I kind of really think it fucked me up.
Right?
Like, I don't know exactly how to say this, but like your whole entire purpose and being is to get married and have kids.
Right.
And like I've been seeing some of the shit that people have been posting. I don't know if you saw that thing I posted on Instagram, but it was like it's like a little kid's kind of viewfinder, like a projector sort of thing. Okay. And you put the little 8-track style tapes in there or whatever. And it was like these two little kids, in like anime style cartoon kids. And the one was like, this is my friend so-and-so, she's part of the layman's tribe or whatever. And then, look at my skin. Isn't it white and delightsome? Right. And the other little kid had dark skin and was banished or whatever. And I was I totally fucking remember seeing that. So, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, oh, I'm so smart. I don't want to be a racist. And I know that at the young age of 13.
Right, absolutely.
But it's really because, like, they started showing you that shit when you were little kids.
Right.
And, like, singing songs and just basically like prepping you from the very beginning that your whole duty and purpose in life was to have children and be someone's wife.
Right.
Like, what kind of woman with any ounce of self-respect would...
Because you don't have self-respect because you were raised to already believe that this is how you are. I mean, think about it. You were actually the one who said something to me because I was either talking to you or I was talking to somebody else and you were like in the room. And I was like, yeah, no, it was the weirdest thing. Like in high school, it was like, I'm going to be married by 22. I'm going to have my first kid by 25 and I'm going to have 3 kids. And that was like my plan. And I have no idea why that was ever my plan. I don't like children, like, at all.
What about the ones you're related to?
They're all right.
Shut up.
No, I mean, I like them, but I also can give them back to their parents, right?
Right.
So, I mean, when it wasn't until I got together with... Because even like with James, it was like, oh yeah, we'll probably have a kid or 2. And then when we broke up and then I was with Todd, it was like, yeah, I don't think I like kids. And then it was like, I was even like... yeah, I don't like kids either, but I still feel like I have to have them. And that was at like 23, right? And I'm just like, you know what? And then once we broke, I'm like, I don't want kids at all. And it took me a long time to feel okay with not wanting to have kids. And then 2, just be like, I don't like kids.
Yeah, I don't understand why I decided that wasn't like, why can't everyone just decide that? You know what I mean? Like, why? Because I had the indoctrination from the beginning, just like everybody else did. But how did I break free of that? I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not I count my lucky stars
Right.
and
I mean, I guess technically I broke away from it too. Although you were much more into the church than I ever was. So like I only went to the church in the summertime when I'd visit Dad. But Mom didn't start going back to church till I was 12.
Yeah.
Mom was very, even though she wasn't part of the church, was very much like, yo, you have like you're a housewife and you have children and that is your job.
Yeah.
And so it took me a long time to kind of be like, wow, Mom kind of fucked me up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I think just looking and seeing all the stuff that people are posting and just being part of, like, the ex-Mormon community, which I never really honestly gave a shit about or cared about. I was just like, oh, these are our target market, right? They'll think this is funny. Then now all of a sudden I'm being triggered with all these, like, repressed memories,
Right.
I think, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Who would teach a little kid that shit?
No, that's fucked up. Because I remember Mom saying, yeah, that it was because they had to, Lamanites, who are essentially anyone that is not white, had to walk in the sun because they were being banished because they were bad. And so by having
It wasn't even they were bad. It was like the curse of their forefather, or their ancestor.
But like it just odd, like it was like it's fucking racist. And it's awful.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%. But like
racist.
I can't even wrap my head around it because it's so fucking racist.
Yeah, I'm a little touchy about race these days too, as probably everyone,
everyone
should be.
Should be
Because some fucked up shit going on out there.
Right? I concur.
Anyway, that took a turn. That just popped into my head. I was like, weird Mormon shit. What's some weird Mormon shit we can start off the podcast with? Oh, repressed memories.
Right? Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of just people having to deal with the death of their loved ones and trying to figure out where they fall in, because they've already left the church. They don't want to be part of the church, but then their mom dies. And you're like,
yeah.
Well, and it's like, it's perfectly okay to pray to a God. It just doesn't have to be the Mormon God. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the big draw.
Like, you don't need to be atheist. You can be agnostic. Like, I would say I'm agnostic.
Yeah.
Who am I to say there is or isn't anything out there? But I just don't believe in there's some dude judging me all the time and watching me wank it, you know?
And wanting you to tell some old man about it when you're a kid.
Exactly. Like, I wanted you to tell me in detail about how that made you feel.
Right.
Don't mind me.
Right. Yeah, it's fucked up.
It's fucked up.
Like, that's the whole draw, though, for the church. It's like, you know, you love your family. You want to be with your family forever, and that's how they get you. They're like, oh, well... I just wanted to start singing the Book of Mormon musical because they just encapsulate it so well, but it's just like... Anyways, let's move on. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a vodka martini. It was my very good friend Marcy's birthday today, and she lives out in New York, like in the county or country, I think. Anyways, upstate. She lives upstate, and in Mumford, Rutherford. Shit, I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I forget. Anyways. But Mumford, it is Mumford, New York, and the bar was too crowded for her, so she couldn't get a drink, and so she's like, this is the worst birthday ever. I am as sober as a judge. And I was like, girl, I will drink all the martinis for you on your birthday. And so I did, and so that's my little shout out, which kind of brings me to our Patreon.
Does it bring you right there?
Yes, it does, because that shout out I just did for my friend for free, but you can have your very own one for $5 a month.
Way to sell it, Charlotte.
I was going to say, you can edit this out if you want.
No, but for real, though, we've been, like, hemming and hawing about launching a Patreon. Should we do it? Should we not do it? And we finally did. It's up live as of yesterday. And I'm actually really fucking stoked about it because not only did I get to design some merch, some Bad Mormons merch, which... I think maybe I found my new calling in life because our merch is fucking awesome, by the way. Yep. You can see it on our Patreon. And also I got to... if you don't know what Patreon is, basically like it's a way that fans or people can interact with the things that they love, the creators that they love, and basically support people who are creating things that don't necessarily get paid for them.
It's like a GoFundMe, only you get stuff out of it.
Yeah. It's for people who want to support people who are creators.
If you want us to keep doing this too, you know, I need to be paid. I'm kidding. But it does help us pay for the microphones. It helps us pay for the wine. So on and so forth.
Well, and it's not just that. It's like, so, you know, you got to imagine, like, I actually have been on Patreon for a while because I follow Anthony Ranieri, who's the lead singer of Bayside. So he puts out, special content. He'll do like live stream videos. So it's like basically just a kind of a way to like be a part of like an inclusive club, and you're paying, these artists or creators for their time to make stuff for you, so it's not just about like, No,
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, I actually had been subscribed to a Patreon for a hairstylist, and she did it so other hairstylists could learn her methods as far as like, understanding the color wheel, if you mix these colors. Anyways, it was really great. It was worth every penny I paid for it. But she didn't bring out content every month. It's probably like every other month she'd do a class.
Yeah. So I set us up with a Patreon. I set up, 5 tiers.
Oh, nice.
And
yes,
which that's been something that I've been trying to kick around in my head. Like, what's the show worth? Like, what's our time worth? What's our value? And so really the basic ones are, we have a $3 tier, which is just, hey, thanks for the support. So it's $3 a month. And then we have a $5 tier, which I had a lot of fun naming. Like, we started them with the degrees of glory for the Mormon church, which I don't even know if you know what that is all about, Charlotte.
I have no idea. I just thought glory hole, but...
Well, that's where I ended up going with it. But yeah, like the degrees of glory are like... And I'm not going to say this correctly, but it's basically like the levels of how good you are on like how far up into the church you get to go. So like the bottom level is the telestial level. So that's like our $3 level.
Right.
The terrestrial's in the middle. Then the celestial is the highest one. Then I made up some other ones to go a little higher for the big spenders who might want to get merch or might want to do like a Zoom happy hour call with us. So if you're interested,
that'll be fun.
Check out our Patreon, FHE Bad Mormons.
Promise I won't black out halfway through the Zoom call.
Don't promise things that you can't keep, Charlotte. You're going to break that promise.
Like, well, how did it end? Was it good?
Anyways, so I'm drinking. What am I drinking, Charlotte? You brought this into me.
I brought you an On the Rocks Cosmopolitan, and I put it in a very fancy glass for you.
In a 2-cup measuring heavy-ass Pyrex measuring cup.
You're welcome.
So, I wish you guys could see it.
I'll take a picture of it.
Hear my eyes clinking around. So, what should we talk about? Let's see. What are we watching? What are we reading? What are we listening to?
I'm reading a book called Never Eat Alone.
Sounds like, is it a horror book?
No, it's a business book. It's like, I've been on these self-help books a little bit lately. Like, what? They're not all self-help books. Like, one was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is all about like money and blah, blah, blah. And this one is how to kind of succeed more in business. And it's pretty much saying that when somebody says they're a self-made millionaire, it's total bullshit. Like, somebody had to help you. Somebody either gave you advice or somebody, and it's not just one person. It's like 10 people, 20 people underneath of you. Like, it's constant help from people. You may have done it all, but you couldn't have done it without all the help that you got, right? And so he talks about all the ways different people can help you and how you can utilize people. And I like it. It's pretty good.
Nice. So I got an extra day off this week, which was just delightful. And I've binge watched the series The Boys.
Okay.
At our sister Tiffany's recommendation.
Nice. It's
on Prime, Amazon Prime Video, and it's some of the best shit I've seen in a really long time. Yeah, it's like a superhero show, but it's kind of like the superheroes are the bad guys, and then the good guys are the guys trying to take down the superheroes. Very great insight into how a giant corporation works.
But it's with superheroes rather than just douchey CEOs.
Yeah, the superheroes are the product.
Right. Oh, okay.
And the superheroes are not good. The superheroes are the bad guys. The corporation's the bad guys.
I think I saw up to the 3rd episode, and I liked it, but like Craig wasn't watching it with me, and it was just like, I didn't want to get too far into it if it was really great, and then I'd have to watch it from the beginning again, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Well, like we said on our, I don't know if it was the last episode or the episode before that, we're not waiting for other people to watch good shit. That's why I'm almost done with season 2.
Well, good for you. Well, then I'll have to watch it while you're at work.
I'll watch it with you.
Okay.
It's also very gory.
I did see
very gory.
So the last episode I saw was the one where the invisible guy was in the cage. I'll just say that much.
Yeah. I think that was episode 1.
Oh, then maybe I only saw one episode then.
Yeah. fucking awesome. Lots of gratuitous full frontal male nudity.
Oh, I love
which
that.
I also really am interested in.
I'm behind it.
There's not a lot of hot... Well, there's some hot people in it. But it's not meant to be like...
It's not supposed to be the Chris Hemsworths of the
exactly.
delicious.
There goes Charlotte. Chris Hemsworth daydreams. And a martini.
Life is good.
Martini nights. Yeah. So, The Boys. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Again, I'm late to the party. Like, I think this was out in 2019.
Well, now you're caught up.
Almost. I will be by midnight tonight.
I need to stop reading books and watch more TV.
I need to stop watching TV and read more books.
That's a lie, because I watch TV all the time. I just happened to, for the last couple days, been reading a book. We did watch American Psycho. We had a whole James Vanderbeek evening with 4 bottles of wine.
That's true, we did.
I haven't been so hungover in a very long time.
Well, so you start watching American Psycho, and then you're like, Bret Easton Ellis, also wrote The Rules of Attraction. Did you realize that James Vanderbeek's character, Sean Bateman, was Patrick Bateman's brother? And then Charlotte's like,
I had no idea.
I don't even know what you're talking about. So then I had to put on Rules of Attraction. So it started out as a American Psycho Rules of Attraction double feature, which just morphed into
James
Vanderbeek forever, because he's so fucking great.
He is great. The only thing that would have made it better, and I don't say this lightly, because I love me some Galaxy Quest, but we should have just put on Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. Yeah. We should have just went right into that. Because, God, I love me some James Vanderbeek.
Yeah, he's so great in that show.
He's so great. Mm-hmm. I wish that was him in real life.
It might be.
Yeah, I don't think so. You unfortunately also turned me on to his Instagram. And, there's nothing wrong with being a good person. I just wish he was a worse person.
Because his Instagram's perfect.
Well, he's just like, oh, I love my family and I'm so good. It's like, he's supposed to hate everything and be angsty like he is in the show.
Oh. maybe like, what's his character? Oh, I was going to say, what's his character's name?
James Vanderbeek?
In Apartment 23. I was going to say, maybe he could have like an alter ego Instagram just for people like you who are bad Mormons.
We like other bad people.
Yeah, we hate good people. Stop loving your family, James Vanderbeek.
Stop going on hikes. I don't know. I didn't get that far into his Instagram.
Why can't you just steal some shit like the rest of us from 7-Eleven?
Drink in the middle of the day.
Yeah. Hey, do you have anything to repent for?
I'm kind of a dick. That's about it. Like in general. I need to start being nicer to people.
The only thing I really have, and it's not really me personally, but I was, with our episode last week with Erica, I was so bummed because, I don't know if you remember or not, because you were quite drunk.
I showed up drunk. I left blacked out.
Yes, we recorded for 90 solid minutes, an hour and a half. And we were recording on the Anchor platform, and for some reason she was on, she's on her end because she lives in Utah, and we're on our end, and our vocal tracks, even though it's like the way you're recording it, you're kind of like on a phone call. Our vocal tracks were like timed like 5 seconds off in some places. So it's like,
so when we'd laugh at her with something funny, she would say she'd deliver what she said. There was silence for like 5 seconds, and then we would laugh, but it seemed like it was bad.
I was able to edit most of that down, but there were some parts where like somebody was saying something that couldn't be cut, and that's why the laugh was weird. Or anyways,
it wasn't terrible, but
we're not recording on Anchor ever again after that. But there was so much like gold in that conversation that I had to cut out, and I was so bummed about it. So I'll just repent for Anchor.
That's fair. That's
fucking up our podcast last week.
And I'm going to repent for AT&T being the worst internet possible. We will be going to Cox next week. So
yay! I'm very excited.
Then we can do Zoom calls and we can have normal internet like normal people, because, living in the slums of OC, we can't seem to get our Wi-Fi strong.
Yeah, what the fuck? All right, let's tell some stories.
All right.
What stories do you want to tell?
It was the funniest thing. I was talking to one of my clients, and I was telling her about the podcast, and she was telling me about this guy who was really good at forgeries, and actually took the Mormon church for a little bit of money.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And I was like, it's so funny you should say that, because I don't know the story very well, but I do know one thing, was that guy was he a family home evening teacher, or was he the preschool or whatever you want to call it?
He was, well, both. Well, he was a family home evening.
Okay.
Like, what do they call that? Home teacher. Yeah, home teacher.
He was my dad's home teacher partner.
Yeah.
And he murdered somebody. It's so weird that our family isn't even that into the church. I mean, my dad's always been part of the church, but it's not like he's some higher up guy. But it seems like our family keeps getting into trouble. Whether we know a murderer, or we have a cousin who starts a cult and has awful people who start their own religions, or...
Yeah, totally.
Or, you know...
Yeah, so the guy's
mom marries a polygamist, you know, whatever.
Yeah, so this guy, Dad's home teaching partner, and I think they were only home teaching partners for like 6 months. His name was Mark Hoffman. And I actually had this in the back burner of my brain to tell this story. So I'm going to read some of it as we go along from Wikipedia, because I'm totally not prepared.
Shocker.
With real notes for the... Well,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Like,
am
I ever prepared?
But one of our aunts, I think it was Jill, or I think it was Julie, she messaged me way back when we first started this, and she's like, hey, did you know that your dad's, home teaching partner was that guy that defrauded the church or whatever for millions of dollars? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah, so this guy, Mark Hoffman, basically what his story was he found all these documents, basically, and evidence from, like, olden times that would basically paint the church in a very poor light, basically meaning that, like, the stuff that Joseph Smith said was he was a fraud.
Yeah.
Basically, along with some other stuff too, but like yeah, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time, but basically, so essentially what happened was he created these forgeries. He was a master forger, and some of these forgeries, I mean, like, they were taken to, really credible universities, and, the top guys who were like Egyptologists and archaeologists and like Indiana Jones and, in his professor's days or whatever, were like, reviewing these documents and like basically authenticated them and said, yeah, this is legit. So however he did it, however he forged them, he did a really fucking good job at it. And the church, I don't know if the first piece of evidence was something that made the church look bad, but he ended up selling them like several pieces of, historical documents that he'd created for like thousands of dollars, $25,000, $30,000, $50,000.
So they could bury it?
So they could bury it. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
And yeah.
Also good for him.
Yeah, and he had just created it, he just made it up. And I was actually in, this was a memory that I didn't remember until Julie mentioned it. But so I was in Sunday school as a little kid, and she happened to be there in my classroom with me for whatever reason. I don't know if she was giving a talk or whatever. And I must have only been a little kid if I was still in Sunday school.
Right.
But, this guy, Mark Hoffman, he was in our ward. He was in our 5th ward, church in Logan. And he'd come to our little Sunday school class to show us what he had found in this. So he's in this Book of Mormon. So he'd supposedly bought this Book of Mormon.
Where he buys them?
Or he found it in an estate sale.
Like, he's an archaeologist and like dusting away dirt. It's like, I found this thing.
No, like he procured it somehow, like estate sale or abandoned garage or barn or I don't know, whatever the fuck.
Golden.
Yeah, dug it out of the hill in his backyard.
There's something about a hat, like.
Yeah, that's a longer story, but that's a Joseph Smith story. But yeah, anyway, so he like mysteriously found this Book of Mormon and found this piece of paper folded up in there, and he brought it to our Sunday school class and showed it to us. And when she told me that, I was like, holy shit, I do remember that. I had no idea like the significance of it at the time, and then sure enough, like this guy went on to forge a whole bunch more shit. A whole bunch of shit that basically made Joseph Smith out to be a liar and the Mormon church to be false. So the Mormon church was buying this shit from him as fast as they could because they didn't want it to get out. And then I don't know what he was doing with the money, if he was spending it on making new forgeries. He was spending it on something, and he was running out of money faster than he could make it. So he had a business partner too. So basically he decided he was going to kill his business partner. I don't know if there was life insurance involved or if he didn't have to pay him back or something like that.
I don't think he'd get the life insurance. Well, maybe for the business. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, so he tried to kill his business partner, ended up killing his wife with a bomb. So this innocent lady died. And then
he would have been innocent too. I mean, the business partner.
True.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
But yeah, this innocent lady died.
Shitty.
And then the reason he got caught was because another bomb so he was making homemade bombs. That's what killed the lady. Another bomb that he'd made detonated in his car as he was driving it. And the cops were like, wait a minute, this is too coincidental.
Well, didn't he try to say someone tried to kill him too or something? Yeah.
But they weren't fucking buying it at this point. And also, speaking of coincidental, like how many things could one person actually find? You know, like statistically,
right?
Like it's a 1 in a million billion chance you'd find this document. But to find like 25 more and keep selling them to the church, like how stupid is the fucking church, first of all?
Pretty stupid.
Anyways, so he got busted. He's actually still in jail, I think.
Okay,
in
well, good.
Utah.
He did kill somebody, so.
He did kill somebody. He's still in jail. And yeah, he was our dad's home teaching partner.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. In case you guys don't know what home teaching partners are, or home teachers are, it's basically just the elders, the people, the boy people of the church. They go in pairs, similar to missionaries, but they go to existing members' homes on family home evening nights.
So missionaries go to not members?
Yeah, they're going to convert.
Okay, and then the
home teachers
go to people who have already bought the bait and are brainwashed.
Yeah, they're part of the church already. So your home teachers go to your family home evening, which is on Monday nights. Gotcha. And then they give you lessons. Yeah, maybe they don't know our address. It's 666 Elm Street, Satan Way. Stop by anytime.
Do you think now is as good a time as any to hear from our sponsors?
I think it's a great time to hear a word from our sponsors.
Perfect, because I need a drink.
I'm tired. So tired. Tired of global warming, riots, protests, face masks, vaccines, anti-vaxxers, broken promises, lies, Russian interference, porn star affairs. I don't want some fool who can't even fake honesty and family values for a lousy 4 years. I want someone who can believably fake it for at least 20 years. I want someone who can put a can of Coke in my hand and just make it all go away. Make me forget, even if it's just for a little while. Someone to sneak me a little something to help me feel a little more relaxed, a little more consensual, a little less small and blue. Maybe a pudding pop or a Quaalude. That's why I'm voting Cosby. Bill Cosby, President 2020.
Family Home Evening with Bad Mormons is responsible for the contents of this message.
With the pudding and Nutella. That was just lovely.
God damn, she's funny.
God, she's a funny, funny gal.
I'm really looking forward to our upcoming little vacation getaway to Palm Springs.
Yes, it's going to be so much fun.
Mm-hmm. We're going to, we haven't talked to Courtney about this, but we're going to make her record a podcast with us in person.
We're also have the plan of re-recording When Good Plans Go Bad Part 2, so we have that going for us.
Do you want to tell people what Good Plans Gone Bad Part 2 is?
Yes, I would love to. So when you guys would come visit us, Courtney always had a camcorder, and we would always be making commercials or movies of some sort, and they were always pretty short and stupid and amazing and funny, because as you can tell, Courtney is a very creative, funny person.
Mm-hmm.
So this was There Is No Good When Good Plans Go Bad Part 1. We just jumped right into the sequel. And essentially it's plants that murder people in different kinds of ways. There are also some commercials involved, like the Poodala, which you guys will probably come to know well later. And yeah, it was great. I had it on. Nobody had a copy of it except for me for the last 30 years, maybe 20 years.
No, it's more like 30.
And I found it the other day, and I was like, oh my God, we should listen. And by listen, I mean watch this. And then, so I put it in the VCR. We had this whole Zoom thing going on with Courtney. We were very excited to watch it. And we could only get audio and no visual. And I'm like, shit, what happened to my VCR? No, VHS. Thank you. My VHS. So then I just took it to Costco, had to put it on a thumb drive, and then we watched it the other day, and it was great. I mean, the quality is real shit. It kind of would blur in and out a little bit in the very beginning, but overall, like, it's almost like tracking, right? It was pretty great.
Slightly related, I don't know if anybody's a fan of Justin Long, the actor Justin Long. I think he's so fucking funny, and I love his Instagram, and I follow him on Instagram. But his brother has been tagged in a few of his posts lately, and his brother's handle is $poo72.
That son of a
bitch. Maybe he already made a $poo commercial. Maybe he's just getting ready to cash in when you do the full release of $Poo Part 3.
But yeah, anyways. Palm Springs is going to be great. We're going to re-record that movie so that way you can get a better quality version of it. If you'd like to see the original, you can sign up for our Patreon,
where you'll find exclusive bonus content for only our patrons.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just want to give a shout out while we're on the subject of Patreon to Siobhan, who's our very first patron.
Hooray!
We're so stoked.
You just got bumped up to the $5 tier.
You're going to have all the inside scoop and exclusive content for being our number one first patron.
Shit, yeah.
Girl, we love you.
We love you. I'm going to meme the hell out of you later.
Dirty.
She likes it.
So while we were watching Varsity Blues in our James Vanderbeek-a-thon, we started remembering some stories that I think would be cautionary tales and also probably hilarious to tell our listeners on the podcast.
Maybe not everybody knows how lightning works. You don't know.
I didn't know. And I just want to put this out there. I am terrified of electricity. Anybody who knows me knows I'm terrified of electricity. I'm sure
it's how she's going to go.
That's how I'm going to die. Yeah, I'm fucking terrified of it. Yet, still, at the same time, you're going to hear the stories that we're going to tell you. So... Here we are. Picture it. Lake Tahoe. It's fall. It's chilly. That's a cold lake anyway, but we were out swimming.
It is a cold lake. Swimming
in the lake in the, I want to say fall time.
What year would you say it is?
I really don't know, but we had the roommate from hell was with us. She had an ex-boyfriend that...
And lion, tigers, and bears. Come on.
Yeah. That she had an ex-boyfriend that she made us believe... gave us permission to stay at this Lake Tahoe house. It was like their family home or whatever, their family getaway vacation home, winter vacation, summer vacation, I don't know. Anyways, they had an extra house in Incline Village in Tahoe. And so she was like, oh yeah, my ex-boyfriend Tyler, yeah, we can totally stay at his place. And so we were on this road trip and we go to his parents' actual house somewhere in the desert. I can't remember, somewhere in Arizona, I think. But it was really beautiful. It was one of the coolest houses I've ever been into. It was the kind of thing where it had like rock gardens and cactuses inside and shit. Like I don't know how to explain it. It was really cool, and it was like kind of melted into the landscape. Like it was really badass. But anyways, these people had no idea we were fucking coming. They were just like,
of course, because the roommate from hell is a liar.
Yeah, they were like, oh, crazy ex-girlfriend is at our house with a bunch of fucking strangers. You know, so you could just feel the vibe was weird. Yeah. Right? And then that's when she brought up the, like, can we stay at your house in Tahoe kind of a thing. And like, I feel like these people were kind of railroaded. But I also feel like they were really nice people.
Right.
And so they let us go and stay there.
That's nice of them.
Yeah, it was really nice. Really nice of them. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's like we felt like we had this planned out ahead of time. That's one of the reasons we went. And turns out, no, it was a fucking sham. And they were just trying to get rid of the psycho ex-girlfriend, which is why we ended up staying.
It's crazy.
Anyways, so we're in Lake Tahoe in Incline Village. We go down to the water. It's fall, late summer, fall, and we're swimming, and this lightning storm rolls in, and it was really beautiful and getting crazy and getting close. And like, I was like, we were kind of not arguing, but we were discussing back and forth. So it was me, Amanda, Courtney, Tiffany, and BJ was there. And we were like, should we be swimming in the water? Like, should we be in the water during a lightning storm?
That's very flat.
Yeah. And I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, and this is what I said to the group. I was like, well, I mean, if it was bad to be in a lightning storm in the water, wouldn't all the fish die if the lightning hits the water? Like, they would electrocute the fish, so it must be safe.
I'm legit following your logic here, and you're going to explain to me how that does.
Everybody else did, too. And I still don't know why it doesn't work, but it doesn't. It's not true. You should not be in the water in a lightning storm. But Courtney was still like, I don't know if that's right. That seems like logical, but something doesn't sit right. So she gets on her cell phone in the water. Cell phones were still relatively, like, newish. And
not in the water, you're in a boat?
No, in the water. We're, like, in the rocks, in the water, playing in the water.
So you're not, like, treading water deep?
No.
Okay, but you're in the water.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So she calls up her friend Rob. She's like, Rob, this is what Mandi says. The fish would die. Like, is it bad to be in the water during a lightning storm? And he's like, are you in the water now? She's like, yes. He's like, hang up the fucking phone and get out of the fucking water. So we did. And I still don't know why. Why the fish don't die? Maybe because something about the surface tension. I'm not a scientist.
Scales.
All I know is that you shouldn't be on a cell phone in a lightning storm. You shouldn't be in the water on a lightning storm.
Yeah,
in a lightning storm.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I could see that. The only other time I could think of, well, two things. One, and it wasn't that interesting, but me and Tiffany were in Bellingham, and we never get lightning storms in Bellingham, right? Like, you get rain all the time, but to actually get like lightning and thunder doesn't happen. So we all rode our bikes to the beach, and the beaches there aren't like pretty beaches, they're just rocky beaches, and we were actually
they're pretty, they're just different kind of pretty.
Pacific Northwest. But anyways, we actually were trespassing because we had to go through a bunch of fences that said do not trespass, and we were sitting there drinking some beer.
Is this down by BP?
Yes.
Yeah. The train tracks?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And so, it was me, Tiffany, and Joey, and we're drinking our beers, and we're enjoying the lightning storm, and it doesn't even dawn on us that we should not be on a beach. I mean, it's not as bad as being in the water, but
true.
Next thing we know is two bike cops roll up on us, and Joey had pounded his beer, so he got no ticket at all. Me and Tiffany got open container tickets, and this bitch shopped at the co-op. She knew us. She couldn't let us off with a warning, and if anything, she pretty much said to me, if you try to fight this, you're going to lose because you're going to have a $400 trespassing ticket. I'm like, fine, you suck.
She had a quota to meet.
Yeah, she did. Bitch.
Well, do you remember the time that I think it was me and you and Lori and Tiffany in that lightning storm in Logan?
Yes. God, that was stupid.
So Logan gets great lightning storms.
Amazing ones.
Which is why the mountains are always catching on fire there, because it's brutal. But yeah, really, really, really badass electrical storms happen there. And we had all moved away, and we were back visiting Dad for some reason.
Because in the summertime, there's really good ones.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not too hot, then it has the right, circumstances.
Right. So none of us lived in Logan anymore, so we were definitely old enough to know better. Yeah. We weren't, like, little kids or anything like that. But so this badass lightning storm's happening, and we want to see the action, right? So we go outside. The four of us go outside, and I can't remember...
I do.
Okay, you tell it.
I remember because we were sitting on the driveway at first, and we were like, this looks so cool. Like, oh, that was a good one. Oh, did you see that one? That was a good one. And I was like, but like the trees were kind of in the way, and I was like, we could probably get a better view if we go on the roof. And we couldn't get on Dad's roof. Like, we probably could have if we tried, but it was much easier to just climb on the fence and then climb on the roof from there. Which was a metal roof.
On the shed you're talking about.
Sorry, yeah, that's the shed. So yeah, we decided to get onto a metal shed. And then maybe about 20 minutes later...
Yeah, we're all laying on our backs in a row.
Right,
probably even holding hands. Just...
I feel like it was like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think... And then, at some point... So
I think Casey had the brilliant idea of, hey, you guys are morons. Maybe we shouldn't be on a metal conduit.
Was Casey with us?
I think he like rolled
I think he
up.
came out.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the
are you
fuck is
idiots
wrong with
doing?"
you?
Yeah.
So yeah, four sisters holding hands, laying down on a metal roof in a lightning storm. But the best part about that story is then we were like,
it doesn't end.
we get off the roof. We're like, oh yeah, Casey, you're right. We should get off this roof. That's crazy.
Let me go grab my umbrella and go to an open field.
To the park across the street from
Right.
Dad's house. And not only was it an open field, then
we sat like under a tree.
Yeah, well, we sat in the open field for a while, and then we're like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem like
This is a bad idea too.
Let's go to the tree so that if the lightning strikes, it'll hit the tree and not us.
So stupid.
Yeah, so mistakes were made.
But you know what? We're kind of smart enough to realize them as we were doing them.
Kind of. 20 minutes into a brutal lightning storm is pure luck.
I mean, come on. We've all seen Back to the Future. It has to hit a certain spot. The chances
88
are
miles an hour.
lightning hitting twice in the same area. Slim to none.
I actually saw the most badass lightning storm I've ever seen in my life, which is saying something. When I was right before I left Hawaii, in fact, it was all my furniture was gone and everything. So like the movers had already come and taken everything away. So I was sleeping on an air mattress in the empty living room.
You put that on Facebook Live, so I saw a little bit of it, but I doubt it did it justice.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. It was crazy shit. And people were posting pictures from up like Makakilo, like up on the hills, and you could see like thick bolts, like 3 thick bolts out in the ocean hitting at the same time.
Right.
It was bananas. And like, yeah, I can't even describe it. The clouds were really low, and it was just massive amounts of electricity. Like there wasn't even pauses between them. It just went on for hours straight. And it was like, at one point I kind of snuck outside, and I'm thinking about the stories that we just told in my head, and
It's like, don't be an idiot again.
yeah, and how terrified I am of electricity. So I go out onto the porch, and at this point, like, you can feel in the air, like the hairs on your neck rise up and the hairs on your arms rise up. And it's like, before when we were in Logan, it didn't feel like that.
No. It was raining, and
Yeah. But you go out, and I went out into this, and the air was really still, and it was just charged. And like, I was like, I gotta go back inside. In fact, I feel like I should go into the bathroom and like away from windows and away from like water pipes.
You and Dexter in the bathtub.
Yeah. Well, you're not supposed to be near water pipes because it could like, they're
The
conductive.
bathroom seems like a bad idea then.
It does, yeah. But I was just thinking in that particular house, like it was a multi-story house, so that would be like the closest away from any sort of the outside.
Envisioning you and Dexter huddled in the tub.
We didn't have a tub actually. We had a shower.
I keep dashing my dreams.
Sorry. Well, stop making up my story as I'm trying to tell it.
Fair enough. You have a point.
Actually, that was the end of it. But I'll put some pictures of that because I actually have some really good videos.
The video, yeah. We don't have any videos of us on the tin roof.
You'll just have to take our word for that.
Right.
Yeah, all of that, and still somehow, maybe that's why I'm convinced I'm going to die, because by lightning, by electricity, because
It keeps hunting you down.
I keep putting myself in harm's way.
So thinking back to that park though, where we went with the umbrella like a bunch of morons, that canal just popped out right up there, right? Like, I think it starts up in almost by the nunnery, right?
No, that's Logan River.
Oh, okay. So
But the canal comes off of, I mean, that's a river
the canyon,
water.
right? But like, because the nunnery's up, it's not by First Dam, like.
Yeah, it's way back. That's the
it's
river.
way in the back. So I feel like going back that way. No, I know the river you're talking about, but on the other side of the highway,
I don't know
a little
where,
bit further down.
Yeah,
that's
I don't
where
know
the
where
canal
it starts. But all I know is that park that we were in. There's a canal that goes back behind, so that stretches the length of that park, and then behind the church, and then behind the golf course,
right,
and then behind Dad's house.
And it goes up the canyon a bit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
that was fun.
That was awesome. Those fucking golfers are assholes. So you used to be able to just like beer. Like I started going down it when I was like 12 or 13. So I remember I'd go to like King's, and I would get a alligator floaty, and I would float down it on that thing, and that was really fun.
Kings.
Right? Kings was awesome. Or you just get like an inner tube, and you would float down it. And then once I got older, then I would have a beer next to me, and I would just float, because the water was so cold, you could put the beer, and it would float alongside with you, and it'd keep it cold. And then sometimes you go by, and there'd be like a fucking snake right there. You're like, oh my God, water, go faster, go faster, go faster.
And we were always singing.
Yes. And so, well, we weren't always singing. We specifically sang... We started singing, let's just say. And then we'd go back and we'd do it again. It used to be you just go down once. Oh, that was fun. Let's do something else. Well, since we have to go through the fucking golf course, golfers were like, we were laughing, telling jokes, whatever. Because we're not just going to quietly, float down the river. Or
Silence
whatever.
when you're in the golf course.
Right? It's like, you guys need to shut up. You're ruining my game or whatever. We're like, oh, fuck you. So then it was, yo ho, yo ho, a pirate's life for me. But we didn't know any other lyrics than that. So it'd be like, yo ho, yo. Over and over and over again, and very loudly.
Yeah.
And then they would try and hit golf balls at us. And it's like, fuck you, motherfucker, I'm doing it again.
It was some Caddyshack shit.
Oh, yeah. So we get out, get driven back up the canyon, get back in, and do it again.
You went all the way up the canyon?
Yeah. You couldn't walk there. I mean, if you walked there, it would take hours.
Yeah, I don't remember ever going up to the start of it.
No, you'd have to hit someone to drop you off. And then they'd have to drive themselves back down. Or if you parked your car there, then you'd have to get a second car to come back up and get your car again, right?
I just think you just went much further up than I ever did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because there are multiple points that you can get. If you start at it, it's actually just water coming out of the mountain, through rocks. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. But I was kind of pissed because my little brother Colin was with us. And it's like, bitch, if you hit my little brother with a fucking golf ball, I'm gonna fuck you up. Mm-hmm. And then ever since then, I'm sure it wasn't just us. I'm sure it was other people too. Maybe not, because we are assholes. But then they started, because you never actually ever had to get out of the waterway. You could just float through it, and you'd have to, sometimes you'd have to push yourself under a little bit, hold your breath, as you at least that's the way I remember, but that could be a dream. But they started putting grates up, so you couldn't go through the tunnel, so you'd have to get out and walk around, and in that case, you would be trespassing, and then that was their way for you not to be able to use that waterway anymore.
Yeah.
And it was really lame, because they don't own the waterway. They had to make you, fucking golfers.
You probably, the way that you're describing the tunnels, because I don't remember that part, but it sounds like it was probably public safety. If you had to hold your breath a little bit going into a tube.
Like I said, I have
that's probably why the grates are there.
Sometimes
now.
Could very well be dreaming that part. I drink a lot of booze. My brain cells aren't what they used to be. And by brain cells, I mean the brain.
when I was in high school, this just popped into my head actually, because I can't remember who was there. Wait, let me think about this for a second. Well, basically the story is a bunch of my friends went into the golf course, and we were on acid, like we were
Shocker.
all the time, and we stole a golf cart and flipped that motherfucker.
Yes.
So let me think. So it was me, definitely James, and definitely Val were there. I think there were other people too. Maybe Rob, and I think Mindy and Melissa were there. Anyways, a bunch of us, I don't know how we got in there. I think somebody worked there, or somebody knew somebody who worked there and had the keys or something. So it was night. Obviously, it was the middle of the night. Nobody was around. We somehow had keys to get into the golf course. We somehow got the keys to the carts, and we just started tearing up the fucking golf course. On one of those golf carts. And I remember sitting on the back. So somebody was driving it, somebody was in the front, then there's 2 seats behind that, and then we were facing the other way, so we were facing outwards on the very back.
Yeah.
And whoever was driving it was just hauling ass, and we went over a bump, and me and whoever else was on the back with me got bounced off. Thank fucking God, because then they hit another bump and flipped the golf cart.
Shit.
And everybody was okay. They were fine. And then we were we should get the fuck out of here.
That actually happened to our friend Anne, and she got a concussion, and she had, calcium release in her head, to where she'd get, dizzy really easily. So, those golf carts aren't something to fuck around with. She was going to a Super Bowl party, and they were picking up the guests at the bottom of this hill and driving them up on a golf course, and Anne was sitting on the back, and they hit a bump or whatever, and she fell off of it and smacked her head. I think she had to go to the hospital. Anyways, fucked up. golf carts. Golfers and golf carts can suck it easy. And I think that's why I hate golfers. I have an irrational hatred. Unrational? What's the word I'm looking for?
Irrational? I would say that's irrational.
Yeah, it's an irrational hatred of golfers. I just hate them.
I think that's classist and rude, Charlotte, and I think you should expand your mind and open up and accept all types of people, even golfers. You can't judge somebody based just on the sport that they like.
Tell me one golfer you know that doesn't suck.
Brian.
Brian who?
I can't say last names on the podcast.
Tell me something that it sounds like.
Courtney's former boyfriend.
Oh. I don't know him, so not my problem.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. No,
Right.
I have some stupid friends that play golf, and they're not the worst, but I definitely like them less because of it.
Okay. Well, now, world, you all know how Charlotte feels about golf.
Aerosmith and golf, and the Eagles.
Listen, I think we need to take a deep look within ourselves, figure out where the hatred's coming from, what we can do to turn it around and be a positive light in the world. Namaste.
Namaste, bitches. I don't know, man. Okay, you're right. Fine.
Hey, Charlotte, you want to go steal a golf cart?
Yes.
You just say, Namaste.
Namaste.
Ba-doom, boom.
I'm gonna be there. Did you say Yama be there? Yama be there. Up and away.
Okay, we got to remember to write this down. We have to do a podcast devoted strictly to yacht rock.
Yes.
And I feel like that should also be the thing that we end this episode with, how we can be excellent to each other. We can all watch yacht rock, and it will soften our hearts and make us be smooth and come together as one people.
I concur.
Whether we like Trump or fuck all those people who like Trump, actually, fuck them.
It's true. It's true. Wear a mask and vote blue on November 3rd.
So, anything else you want to throw out here at the listeners, at the world?
I already voted, so if you haven't voted yet, you can do it early. I suggest you do. I'm really fucking proud of seeing the endless amounts of videos of the longest lines ever of people voting early that are wearing masks because you know those bitches aren't voting for Trump.
Mm-hmm. You see all the Trump keeps posting on Twitter. I don't know why I follow that motherfucker on Twitter, but he keeps posting all these pictures of like, you know, he'll say like big crowd heading to XYZ tonight, big crowd. And he says it in caps like he's trying to be an asshole. And then he shows pictures of, you know, like this sea of people shoulder to shoulder. Maybe two of them have a mask on. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? And normally I wouldn't care because you're just killing yourselves, but you're going to kill me too because that's how that shit works.
Well, because
it spreads.
Because wearing the mask isn't to get it so that you don't get it. That's not how this fucking thing works.
And what I'm thinking about is I'm seeing all these people who are at these like super spreader rally events, and then I know those are the same people that come and scream in my face with no mask on when I tell them to please wear a mask when they're shopping inside the grocery store.
Right.
I'm the one who has to be there, and then they come get right up in my face yelling and breathing on me, and it's just like, I don't get paid enough to deal with your bullshit.
Right. Right.
First of all. Second of all, this is private property, motherfucker. Get the fuck out.
Right. Later.
Anybody who works in retail, if you're listening to this podcast, I just want you to know you absolutely don't have to put up with that bullshit. I don't care who you work for. I work for a very large corporation. Right. And all you have to do, if somebody is being hostile to you or threatening you, all you have to do is tell them that it's private property. They're going to say like, oh, my rights as an American, you can't do this, you can't do that. All you have to say is, hey, this is private property and we have the right to refuse service to anyone. And then get yourself out of that situation.
And call the cops.
Ugh, people fucking piss me off. This is how to be excellent to each other. Fuck you, get the fuck out, fuck off.
And then say a little prayer for them later.
Thoughts and prayers. That's what they do for us.
Right?
No, really, what can we do to be excellent to each other? There's got to be something nice. Something... It's so hard because of all the Twitter. I just spend way too much time on Twitter.
I mean, I've been giving money to the Democratic Party so that people like Mitch McConnell go away.
Actually, that's true. Jamie Harrison. I did donate to his campaign.
I almost just did that against Lindsey Graham because fuck that motherfucker.
Lindsey Graham just made a public statement where he referred to the good old days of segregation.
Fuck.
He literally said those words.
How is this country? God damn it.
These guys are going to die soon.
Not fast enough. We're fucking coronavirus. I thought it'd wipe them out. They got it and they still fucking lived. Jesus Christ.
All right. We can't think of anything nice to say. So you know what? Maybe we're just having a bad week.
We'll put it on hold. Next week we'll come up with something amazing.
It's a stressful time. The election's looming. It's ridiculously closer than it should be.
I still say be excellent to each other. Vote early.
Yeah, definitely.
Just vote early.
I voted.
And again, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, even though you already know what I think. But just vote.
You know, I am going to plug one thing. I don't know if this is a California thing or if this is... I think it's just California. But Prop 22...
Oh, yeah.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
Every time you open up your phone, you're getting inundated with, like, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all these big tech companies telling you how if you vote yes on, or if you vote no on 22, like, all the drivers are going to lose their flexibility and the blah, 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 and the drivers want it, and, you know, you were going to hurt the drivers.
If the drivers want it, it's because they don't actually
understand.
Yeah, they don't understand what they're not getting.
It's going to cost... They've spent $500 million on this campaign.
What I could spend $500 million on?
Healthcare for your employees. Let's start there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they don't want to pay the costs associated with having a massive workforce. They don't want to give them benefits. They don't want to pay them minimum wage. So
I was just talking to my client who is very Democratic or whatever, and we talked, like, we went through the whole appointment not talking about who we were voting for, and then by the end of it I said, well, I already voted. She's like, okay, who'd you vote for? And I'm like, Biden, dude. And she's like, oh, thank God. I was so scared. I thought you had said something nice about Trump earlier, and I immediately went on the offense. And I was just like, oh no, not at all. That guy sucks. Anyways, by the end of it, I said, okay, well, make sure to vote no on 22. And she's like, oh, I already voted, and I'm pretty sure I voted yes on it. I was like, and I kind of told her, I was like, listen, they're just trying to not give him benefits. And she's just like, oh, because at first she's just like, no, I believe everybody needs to have some sort of side gig. And I was like, I absolutely agree with you. Everybody does need some sort of side gig. You need that money coming in. But they would still have a side gig. Yeah. They're just getting out of paying them any sort of benefits.
Yeah, the only way that this would change their current business model is if Uber and Lyft changed their business model. Like, the driver's flexibility is completely in the hands of the company.
Right.
That's providing the... Basically, providing the service. They're not even providing the service. They're providing the platform.
Right.
Is all they're doing. And they don't want to fucking pay for it. Same with all the controversy with Airbnb. And, they found these loopholes where they don't have to pay people and they don't have to pay taxes.
Right.
And they've been exploiting it and they've gotten away with it because they were ahead of the tech game. And now they have a shit ton of money to pour into these ad campaigns that trick you into believing, that they're doing something that they're not doing. Or, I guess, that they're not doing something that they should be doing.
Right. They're like, and it's better this way.
Yeah,
just
it's not fucking better.
Right. All right, be excellent to each other.
Yeah, vote no on 22. Just vote. Please vote.
Please, God, vote.
And I saw another thing on Twitter. It was like, hey, white people, how long, write in the comments, how long have you ever waited to vote? What's the longest you've ever waited to vote? And I was like, maybe 5 minutes.
I think I had 20 minutes one time.
Yeah. And I've been voting since 1996. I've never waited more than like 5 minutes.
I just remember one time it took a while and I was like, God, this is so boring. What's happening? But even then it was probably really 10 minutes.
Yeah. So just in case you're listening, from other places that aren't the U.S. and you don't know what's going on, like there's a huge voter suppression tactic happening in like communities of color where basically they've gotten rid of 60, 70, 80% of the polling places and they're forcing the entire population to go stand in line like 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours in line just to vote because they don't want people of color voting because
they don't think that
they're not going to vote Republican.
Right, exactly.
Because the only people who vote Republican are people who have money. And that's not most of us. And unfortunately, that majority of not most of us also don't vote.
Right.
If we did, things would be a whole lot fucking different.
I mean, I would vote. I mean, I would stand in line for 8 hours and vote. But you know what I would do? So for those who haven't voted yet and are, like, daunted by the thought of it, bring yourself a road drink, put it in a Starbucks glass, bring yourself a chair to sit in, make a day out of it.
Bring a charger.
Bring a charger, play games on your phone, make friends with your neighbors if, you want to. Or if you don't, just stay on your phone. But that's what I would do. If I knew I had to wait 8 hours in line, I would full on bring a folding chair. I would make sure I had an external charger for my phone, and I would bring myself a very large cocktail.
For real. Voting should be fun.
Yeah! Make it a party!
All right, it's hot in here.
It's hot in here.
I'm tired.
This drink isn't going to drink itself.
I'm exhausted from the stress of all
Hating
this
everything.
political bullshit. Anyways, that's why you tune in to the show, to hear us bitch about shit.
You're
and
welcome.
remind you how bad everything sucks. So
Listen, and things are going to get a lot better, I swear.
they are. Think of the celebration we're going to have in the streets on November. Well, give it a day or two to collect the votes, but
Right.
it's going to be great.
Well, I took off the 4th because I figured I was going to be hungover one way or another. Whether I was going to be crying myself to sleep
Or dancing yourself to sleep.
dancing myself to sleep. Going, I'm never going to sleep again, motherfuckers.
All right, well, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. Just remember, electricity is very dangerous,
Right.
as are rich white Republicans.
Right. Like, subscribe, give us a rating on Apple Podcasts. We still have stickers.
Give us a review on Apple Podcasts. That's even better.
Right. And then you get the stickers. And then you get the women.
Actually, this is going to be the last time we're giving out stickers.
Oh, right, because Patreon.
Because now we've got special stuff for our Patreon.
So what? Give them till end of October?
Sure.
Yeah, you have till the end of October.
October 31st, Halloween Day. After that, Patreon, patrons only.
Right? I want that $5 cash.
Yeah, please check out our Patreon. I think you'll, if for no other reason than
Just
to
to
read
laugh. Yeah.
read the hilarious tiers that I have put together for your viewing pleasure. We're gonna start doing videos and stuff on there too. So.
Right, and I'm actually making a lot of trinkets like jewelry and stuff that will be some of the, I don't want to call them prizes, but some of
The loyalty rewards.
the loyalty rewards that you'll be getting. And trust me, they're going to be amazing. Especially if you like porno.
All right, you've been hanging out with me and Charlotte, the baddest Mormons in town,
Badass Mormons is that.
and we'll see you next week.